Prowl 1701 here for a little Halloween edition Friday, even though it's not quite a face-off in the traditional sense. There's no poll this time. But I did pose a question to my subscribers and to whoever happened to get it. And that was, what horror / spooky, scary themed Doctor Who story would be your go-to story to watch on Halloween? And if you have a classic and modern answer, list them both, but specify which you prefer. So, what would be your go-to Doctor Who episode to watch on Halloween? Let's have a look what everybody has to say. I actually have my own top 10 list that will be coming out on Halloween, which was recorded before I posted this. There's a couple of them y'all mentioned on there. I was like, that should have put that on the list, but I have a top 10 coming on Halloween, which I'll discuss there. We're going to check out and see what you guys had to say. Reborn Itsy Bitsy says, without a doubt, The Brain of Morbius, one of my favorite Doctor Who stories. Richard English says, can't believe no one's mentioned the obvious and hugely enjoyable. Double billing pairing The Daemons with the Impossible Planet / the Satan Pit. Classic and modern Who working together in perfect scary harmony. Sonic Chill says, blink, The Waters of Mars, maybe Heaven Sent, or even Listen. For classic, he says, I haven't yet seen Horror of Fang Rock or The Brain of Morbius, and you should. You really should. They're amazing. But they'd definitely be suggestions. Ghostlight starts out quite atmospheric and creepy too. The Daemons has some really good atmospheric points, but moves away from the horror tone quite quickly. Yes, it does. For Big Finish, The Chimes of Midnight comes to mind. It also has a spooky gothic atmosphere. I listened to The Chimes of Midnight for the first time recently and reviewed it and found it quite enjoyable. II-237 says, I'd pick an Unearthly Child. I would pick the An Unearthly Child episode. Definitely has the structure and feel of the start of a horror movie. Watch it while you can. Colin Coney, who is one of my top tier patrons, says, for me, the best executed horror themed stories are from the Hinchcliffe Holmes era, but an honorable mention to State of Decay and Horror of Fang Rock. So you'd have to go a long way to beat the body horror duo of The Ark in Space and The Seeds of Doom. Both could potentially have influenced, now classic, but then later horror movies Alien and The Thing. Interesting fact. The 1982 version of The Thing is actually a remake of a movie from, I believe, back in the 50s called The Thing from Another World, although it didn't shapeshift and all that in that one. And even that is based off a novella, I believe, called Who Goes There, as I recall. Jake E. says, I agree with other people, probably State of Decay and Horror of Fang Rock. For modern, I love Hyde from Series 7. There's lots I could pick from when thinking about it. Hyde's a good episode. I really enjoyed Hyde a lot. Series 7B is very underrated. Samuel Carr Beskar says, the only stories to ever have genuinely given me nightmares were the first time of the Angel's Flesh and Stone, and later The Waters of Mars. They would really be the only choices. The Strange Light Bulb says, ooh, I love this question. Why, thank you very much. For classic, definitely Ghostlight. It's got the spooky vibes, a haunted-ish house, and all around very Halloween-y. Yes. For modern, probably Knock Knock from Series 10. I'm going to be honest, I just love haunted house-style episodes. And I enjoy both of those as well. Knock Knock is a little PG-13 with its ending, but it's still a great story. Bananas Are Good says, for classic, there are a few good options, but I would definitely go with Image of the Fendal. I want to watch that so much myself. It's on the Amazon wish list. I keep hoping someone sends that one. I've been really looking forward to rewatching Image. I think I've only seen it once, maybe twice. And then he continues, and for modern, Blink or Waters of Mars, or maybe even Hyde. Paul gave me a list. Paul Bailey, who of course is one of my fellow Who-tubers, he gave me a top 10 list. He said, normally I watch these every year for Halloween. The Brain of Morbius, Curse of Fenric, Empty Child 2-parter, Silence in the Library 2-parter, Pyramids of Mars, Planet of Evil, Listen, Mummy on the Orient Express, Sleep No More, and The Seeds of Doom. Sam C8534 says, classic, probably Web of Fear or maybe Curse of Fenric. Modern, I think Flatline. Love some weird dimensional horror. That's a good choice. I like Flatline a lot as well. That's a good one. Olivera Cincio says, for classic, Horror of Fang Rock. For modern, Heaven Sent. Hudson Media, a fellow Doctor Who Who-tuber, a YouTube Who-tuber, says probably Web of Fear and Blink. I'd probably pick Blink overall, though. Stephen Oh, my mind just went blank. Stephen Crane, who is one of my top tier patrons, actually. I was reading his thing here because instead of saying his name, it gives everybody's address now, but I know that's Stephen. Stephen says, classic State of Decay. That reveal at the end is a chiller. Modern, definitely Blink. That scared the willies out of me. Philip says, obviously, The Chase Part 4, Journey into Terror, A Haunted House, Dracula, Frankenstein's Monster. What more could you possibly want for Halloween? That episode is scary for all the wrong reasons. From the rebooted series, The Timeless Children, because that's a real effing horror. He's got a point. It is pretty terrifying. Shamrock Particle, who is one of my YouTube members, says, for classic, Snake Dance. For modern, Capaldi's Swan Song with the Cybermen. Bobby Frackrell says, I'm watching them in order for the 60th, so it could be anything from probably 21 or 22. Simon Mincher, who just joined the Patreon recently, says, for modern, The Unquiet Dead, which is the story I consider to be the scariest Doctor Who story ever. And for classic, he picked The Horror of Fang Rock, a popular choice. Lewis Frisbee, it was good to see Lewis back. I haven't seen Lewis in a minute, so it's good to see Lewis back. He's also on the membership forum I'm on a lot. He says, classic Horror of Fang Rock, modern Waters of Mars, which has also been listed a lot. Brewster Forrest says, New Who, Night Terrors, Asylum of the Daleks, Name of the Doctor. For classic Who, Ghostlight, Brain of Morbius, Ark in Space. And Ryan Carrick says, Horror of Fang Rock. And Sir Meows a Lot says, Ghostlight and the Shakespearean Code. So, a lot of Horror of Fang Rock on there. Blink getting several shouts out. Waters of Mars getting several shouts out. But seeing a few of them like Mummy on the Orient Express, Flatline, and Ghostlight sneaking in there as well. Lots of good choices. Again, my list will be coming on Halloween, actually. So you'll get to see what I think there. Definitely, a few of them I wish I could have added to the list. It's just kind of a top 10 list with a couple honorable mentions. But there are several others I wish I could have put on there. So that's what you guys had to say about it. If you didn't get a chance to comment on this, comment down below on this video and tell me which ones you would like to watch on Halloween or ones you think are good to watch on Halloween. Other things to do. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, like Image of the Finn doll, for example. I also have a link to my Amazon wish list, that is also on, as is The Invasion of Time, which I've been wanting to rewatch. And YouTube memberships are available as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.